Today we're making chicken and leek pie, a classic comfort dish known for its creamy, savoury fillings and flaky pastry crust. Now, most recipes call for cooked chicken and chicken stock, so let's kill two birds. We have some bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. Bone-in for the slim chance of collagen breaking down into gelatine, skin-on for the certainty of yummy chicken fat. Now, speaking of two birds, what better aromatic vegetable to use than the green part of the leek and the trimmings? While this is way too tough for eating, the simmering would bring out the subtle, onion-like taste, some mild sweetness, and very mild grassy note. Of course, we take the tough outer leaf as well. You're much better off washing them after slicing, by the way. They go in. Nothing goes to waste. We cover with less than enough water because they'll wilt and collapse. No need for unnecessary dilution of flavors. Season with salt and whatever herbs you have. Bay leaves, thyme works extremely well just to reinforce the earthiness of the leeks. And we bring this to a simmer and cook it for anything between 30 and 90 minutes, depending on what you're solving for. If you want perfectly cooked thighs that still has a bite, half an hour. If you want to shred your chicken and a rich broth, 90 minutes. Just bearing in mind that all the flavors would go into the pie dish regardless. Now, while the chicken is simmering away, we saute the co-star of the show, the leeks, in what is my first and only deviation from the classic, using coconut cream. We're not doing that to make it dairy-free, and we're not doing that to give it Southeast Asian flavors. Instead, we're splitting the coconut cream into coconut fat and coconut solids, cooking the solids in the process, giving us a deeper nuttiness than a butter would normally give you in this dish. And of course, this brings the richness the double cream would normally give you, and pre-thicken the whole thing before even the addition of the flour. And all you need to do is to bring this to a boil, reduce the heat to medium, let it simmer, let it evaporate its water content, then making sure the bottom does not catch. And in 8, 9, 10 minutes, you'll see the fat separating from the solids, during which time, slice our leeks. Now, once there's not much steam coming out and you can see solids on the edges, we add our winter onion. Season with salt to help draw out the moisture, and we sweat them to evaporate their water content, to concentrate their flavors, in particular the sweetness. For me, a leek is almost like 90% sweet onion, 5% celery because of the herbal notes, and 5% thyme because of the earthy notes. And of course, we're also cooking out the coconut solids, which would give us the nuttiness we talked about, and a subtle sweetness which would complement the sweetness of the leeks. If the fat wasn't obvious earlier because of the white color, it certainly is now, and you can hear the gentle sizzle, so we know we're not far. And of course, the pectin, the sticky bits released from the leek, will also contribute to the creaminess and silkiness of the dish. Now, once there's not much steam coming out and the leeks are quite translucent, we start to incorporate the all-purpose flour. And as we add the flour, the wonderful coconut oil would start to coat the flour, and in turn coating each starch granule of the flour, preventing them from clumping together. And we give it a minute or two. Once you have no visible white dot, stove off, and we wait for the chicken. After 30 minutes, we're solving for texture and time, our chicken is ready. Simply fish out the thigh meat and let the protein fibers relax slightly. And we finish making our roux. Now, on this channel, I've advocated a couple of times using a hot roux and cold liquid. Today, we have a cold roux or cool roux and hot liquid situation. So we have to be slightly more careful, because as we slowly introduce the liquid, the starch content that was coated with the coconut oil starts to swell, gelatinizing, thickening the liquid in the process. And of course, the higher the temperature of the combined mixture, the faster this occurs. So we're adding the liquid very slowly to buy us more time to whisk, to prevent everything from clumping together. And just to be clear, my stove is off the whole time. We're not introducing any heat. Once you're confident that this thing is not going to turn into a ginormous ball, we can be more liberal with the liquid addition. Just from the smell, you can tell how much aromas the leek has imparted. Once you have the smooth and creamy texture, we shred and add the chicken pieces. And you cut them or shred them as chunky as you like. I like a bit of a bite. Perfect. Everything good mix. I mean, this is a wonderful stew on its own. Now we introduce the pie. And because we never brought in the heat during the roux making, this is basically good to go straight away. And you want to leave about 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters of headspace so that when this bubbles, it wouldn't touch the pastry and make the pastry soggy. Of course, we have store-bought puff pastry. I have no pastry game whatsoever. Good trim. And you want to leave about 1 centimeter. Just with a fork. Egg yolk, just to get that extra golden brown color. And very important, we make one tiny incision in the middle to prevent steam from being trapped inside. And now this goes into a preheated oven, 180 fan, 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we have this beautiful, bubbling, slightly collapsed beauty. I should have added a piece of leek in the middle to really stand it up, but you do that when you cook it.